My name is Scott, and I have always loved being around the water. A dream of mine was to one day own a lakefront property of my own. For years, my wife and I have driven around the state looking at property. Sometimes we were serious, and sometimes we just needed something to do, but we were always dreaming. Now the dream has become a reality. Come join us as we attempt to build our very own off-grid cabin on Lake Lot 9.
A million waters in a single sea. The heavens weep and the rivers bleed. The day is a mirror to the night, is a mirror to my soul. I close my eyes, I see again, my hope is never.
Before I ever get started on this video, guys, I got two things that I need to fully disclose. Thing number one is I've already shot this video once when we first got this property, and I didn't use the camera that I should have used, and the stability on the video was horrible. I tried to use my editing software to compensate for the stability, and that made it just look like it was in slow motion for some reason. So I thought, you know, the first video I put out of this series don't need to be horrible. I'm gonna try to make it as good as I can. So I'm reshooting the video with a better camera. Not necessarily a better camera, but a camera better suited for me walking around with. Disclosure number two is I didn't realize that the video was horrible until we'd already spent a few days out here working. So even though you're going to see this video first, there's some work that's already been done that you will see in later videos down the road, assuming that you continue to watch this channel. So as we walk around today, you're going to see some construction that's been done. You're going to see parts of a boat dock that's been built. Just ignore that and get it out of your head. Just act like it's not there. I do have some pictures I might be able to put up during this video of the lot in its raw form. But as we walk around here, you're going to see some stuff that is already finished, and I apologize for that, but I want to put this video out first just to kind of explain what we did, what we bought, where we bought it, and what we plan to do with it, because I feel like it needs that good introduction before we just start digging holes. But anyway, I'll shut up. I'm going to walk up to the top of the lot and start up there. I'm going to try not to sound like I'm hyperventilating because I've been working today. My sinuses are jacked up, my nose don't work, and quite frankly, I'm out of shape. But I'm going to go up to the top of the lot, and we'll start up there and kind of talk through what's going on. All right, I've made that picture to the top with my out of shape behind. But look at this. Of course, from this elevation, you won't be able to see all that in the summertime for the leaves, but it's beautiful. So I've always had a love for the water. I got a boat. I love to fish. I just like to look at it. I don't know. I've got some health issues just like everybody else on the planet, but I can wake up feeling like crap and come out here and work my butt off on my little lot for a day, and it's like medication. But anyway, my wife and I had walked around or not walked around, but my wife and I had driven around for years, back as long as I can remember. And we would look up houses for sale on Zillow, and we would drive and we'd look at houses, and most of the time way more than we can afford. And we really just wanted something to do, and it's a chance to go look at the water. But I always thought it would be awesome to have property of my own. that's waterfront. And for one thing, it's expensive. Number two, it's hard to find lakes in our area here in Kentucky where you're allowed to have homes right on the water. And we'd drive and we'd look at houses that we would literally have to move and live in full time. We've looked at remote lots like this one that would be just like a weekend getaway, just hop in the truck, hop in the boat, whatever, and go have a weekend. But I'm learning more about this property as I go. But from what I understand, this was all one big property, a big family farm property, whatever. And the people who owned it decided to sell it for whatever reason. And they commissioned it off to an auction company, an online auction company. That company hired a surveyor to come in. And that's why these roads are as good as they are. Surveyed these lots off and auctioned them all off online. And how I missed that, I don't know. I don't keep up with online auctions, so I guess that's the reason. But completely unaware that this was going on, even though I look daily at lake lots. So right now it's the end of January 2025. So back in August, I think it was, this come up for sale. And it was owned by a realtor, but he'd bought it for his personal use. And popped up on Zillow. It's only a 1/3 acre. And decent price. You know, everything's expensive, but for what it is and where it is, it was a decent price. So I messaged him. We went back and forth for a little while, and finally decided to drive down here and look at it. And the first time we drove down here, I'll be honest with you, it was pretty intimidating because it's way back in the middle of nowhere, which to me is a good thing. But I drove back in here and finally got to see it, realized that it was super remote, realized that it was super small, but my wife and I both could see the potential it had. And it really offers us pretty much everything we wanted and some, and we'll get to that in a minute. But to try to keep this not ridiculously long, there's two things that you could consider a negative to this property. We don't necessarily consider a negative, but some people might. One, it's super remote and it's off grid. Personally, I don't ever see water and electric being ran here, just because the logistics of it would be way more expensive than what those utility companies would stand to make from the property over here. But I'm not an expert on that. I don't know. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Personally, we don't care. As a matter of fact, I'm not completely sure that I would hook my cabin up to electricity if they did run it over here, just because my mind is ran wild with the way I want to do things, and I'm kind of set on that, and that's the way I want to do it. But anyway, super remote. And issue number two is it's small. It's only a 1/3 of an acre. Depending on what you look at, it might be a little bit less than a 1/3. You look at some more documents, it might be a little bit more than a 1/3, but it's clearly marked, newly surveyed. It was surveyed in 2022. So to get back to the sale of the thing, you know, I messaged the guy, we came out and looked at it. I sent him a message and said, I like it, but I like it better for this amount. And he said, well, I can come to this amount. And you know how haggling goes. We both shut it off and went to bed that night, got up the next morning, and within 30 or 40 minutes we'd made a deal. And luckily he was a realtor, so he had moved off to another state, and that's one of the reasons why he was selling it. and he ordered all the closing. Of course, I paid for it, but he ordered all the closing, and I basically didn't have to do anything but wait. And until the closing company called, my wife and I signed some documents, cut a check, done. So super easy. It's almost like it was meant to be. But let's get to looking here. This is from the top. There's a road coming in from the top, and there's a road that comes in from the bottom. I don't know if you can see my truck down there or not, but we'll be there in a minute. So from this top access road, and you can see signs for other lots. None of them are currently for sale, but so here would be the first upper corner. I painted it with some orange paint when it first came out here. Not because I'm worried about trespassers, it's just because I wanted to be able to find it and see it. So this property is 80 something feet wide and 160 something feet deep. And of course that's not exact, don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's pretty much what we're working with. And then you walk over here. Of course I'm not smart enough to walk on the road where it's flat. There's corner number 2. That's the other upper corner. You might be able to see, I don't have zoom on this camera, but it's the best camera for this job. So post to post, there's the upper side. It's pretty cool. You can see where the turkeys have been scratching up these acorns underneath these white oak trees. Been super cold and super snowy. And I say the critters are pretty desperate for food. So cameras don't do a great job at showing grade or steepness of property, but this is walkable, but it's steep. You can see I'm moving at a pretty decent clip. So now you're going to start seeing some construction work that is not really there. It's all in your mind. Just go on, forget about it. You see that lake, love it. Got a couple of big nice white oaks, one there, big one there, big one over there. I'm sure a logger would love to have, but good luck getting that out of here. So we'll look back up from the bottom road and you'll see this construction here that's not really there. You'll kind of tell why we're building where we're building. I'm kind of walking right down through the middle of the lot at the moment. And then here's the lower access road, which is the one, as you can tell, where my truck's sitting, that we're using to access the property and haul in supplies and whatnot, because hauling, packing stuff from here to there is a lot better than trying to get it down that hill. So the first marker I showed you is, let's see if I can see it. Yeah, I see it up there. Right straight up there, so it comes straight down the hill. Pretty much in the center of that hump right there where that tree uprooted years ago when you got that mound. Pretty much comes right down the side of that mound. Right straight down here. To this post. And then you can see from me and this post to the water is probably 30-ish feet. Again, these cameras don't do a great job at depicting distances, and we'll talk about that here in just a minute. Then we're going to walk straight across past this rock fire pit that I have not started building yet. You didn't see that. Ooh. I'm going to fall right there real quick. Then we're going to walk past this tree that I didn't saw up and this dock that I'm definitely not building. Straight over here. No, maybe not straight. To this marker. So we own down to these two lower markers. But the good news is seeing as how we own property that comes down to this line. So this line sits at 1,030 feet above sea level. So the property between these two markers and the water belongs to the lake. It's not a Corps of Engineer lake. I'm unsure of what the entity's name is that actually owns it, but for the lack of better knowledge, we'll say it belongs to the lake. But the good news is, since we own down to these markers, I can cut anything between my property and the lake that is 6 inches in diameter or smaller, which obviously we don't want to come in and just start clear cutting trees, because I mean, who don't like trees? I don't know why you buy a property out in the middle of nowhere if you don't want the trees around. But we will cut a lot of the small stuff out. And then another thing that is fantastic that I never thought would be possible with the lake lot around here is I get to have my own private boat dock. As you can not see, that is in progress, but just keep that out of your head. So I'm going to have my own boat dock, and like I said, it's only 1/3 of an acre, but boat dock at the water. I'll build steps that come up from the boat dock up to this lower road, and then right over, let me get back up here without falling and killing myself. Right in this area, we're thinking about building like a little covered shelter / picnic area, gazebo, whatever you want to call it. Down here, we figure he'll have a picnic table and a stack of firewood and a porch swing, you know, just some old people stuff. We'll have that right in this area. And then literally, when you look at the property, the only real logical area to me to actually build the cabin is right there where we have not started it yet. And it's not anywhere near flat. There's a real good grade to it, but it's doable. It's going to be high in the front end. I didn't want to come in here with an excavator and just start digging up the lot and defacing it. I kind of wanted to leave it as natural as I could. Not to kind of copy off other people, but as Dave Whipple says on Bush Radical, try to build stuff that looks like it's always been there. So that's going to be the attempt anyway. So boat dock at the water, fire pit, gazebo, steps from the water to the road, steps from the road to the cabin, 12 by 24 single slope cabin we're going to build. If we don't, as of right now, that's the plan. Yeah, and that's about it. So small lot, very secluded, difficult to get to. It's 3.7 miles of suspect at best road to get in here. I mean, it's literally like a logging road. There's steep hills. There's low places that stay muddy. It's narrow. Trees are all time falling across the road, so you don't come out here with a chainsaw, as you can see. So 3.7 miles of very sketchy road by vehicle. It's 3.1 miles from the public boat ramp by boat to get to the lot. I've already done that on the boat and measured that on my graph. But that's the wonderful thing about this property that kind of negates the road part to me. If I can get this cabin built while the road holds up, I have no reason to ever come back and visit it by truck. I mean, if you've got a cabin that you can get to by a boat, I don't know why in the world you want to take a truck, but that's just me. Even if I can't get it built, and the road fails, I can literally haul in supplies by boat if I have to. It'll be a chore, but I have to. Because the truth is I can only bring in about a half a ton of materials at a time by vehicle. And otherwise, you take the risk of dragging the bottom plumb out of your vehicle. The road's really that bad. And if you buy a decent pontoon boat that's 20 feet long, you can haul about a half a ton of material on that if you need to. And also, one thing that kind of helps negate the smallness of the lot is that driving in here, you drive through thousands of acres of Daniel Boone National Forest, which is, you can hunt, you can picnic, you can fish. I'm not sure if you can camp or not, but if I want to camp, I want to come to my lot and do that, right? If you get in the boat and go right around this corner, the next point also connects to Daniel Boone National Forest, another stretch of thousands of acres that I could hop in the boat, go around, hunt, fish, whatever. As long as I'm not defacing the property, I can use it. So, I mean, could it be better? Absolutely. Definitely could be a lot worse. We're absolutely tickled to death with it. It's perfect for us. It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be days after days after days of trucking in materials, working with what you got, because if you forget something at home, it's not like you can just run back out to Lowe's and grab it. It's once you get here, you're here for the day. So either do what you plan to do or do with what you got. That's pretty much it. It's going to be fun. It's going to be slow. I've got material enough to put together a few videos. I would like to say that I would have a video out every week, but I'm not sure if that's going to be possible. That would be awesome if I can. I'll try. I will show you one thing real quick. This is the only other structure on this entire property that I'm aware of that's being built yet. And I haven't met the owner, but I've met the guys that are building it. It's pretty cool. He's got a real good lot on the corner. But that cabin is also 12 by 24. So that's about the size mine will be. Except mine will be turned 90 degrees with the longer portion facing the lake. Because the ideal for ours is to have a porch 8 feet deep. That's the entire length of the 24-foot cabin. Got to have plenty of porch or deck or whatever you want to call it when you live on a lake. But anyway, I'm sure that I have missed a ton of information that I wanted to tell you. But I think I've done the best I can. I definitely didn't want to read it off a piece of paper to you. But we're excited. We're thrilled about it. We feel blessed to own it. And until you see me the next time, all I can tell you is find something you love to do and do it till it hurts. See y'all next time.